Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Islamic Idolatries. Today, let's discuss the collective nafs. Now, often when you hear Muslims talk about the nafs, talk about the false self, the lower self, however you want to depict it, the nafs that incites to evil, or as I like to put it, the nafs that incites to selfish expression, which the nafs we could view, like some of the Sufis have discussed this, and some of the philosophers and the Islamic psychologists have depicted the nafs as being the Iblis within, the Satan within, the Dajjal within, the liar, the deceiver, the delusion within, having a false sense of who we are in relationship to other humans and other creatures and to all of creation, and ultimately in relationship to truth. So the thing is, we often conceptualize of the nafs as an individual self, as an individual sense of self. But the reality is that we actually have a sense of collective nafs as well. And this is something that I don't hear people focusing as much on. But we have various identities in this life. So for instance, you may have the identity, and we have healthy and unhealthy attachments and identifications. So you have your nationality. You could be American. You could be Indian or Pakistani. You could be Russian. You could be Chinese. So you've got your nationality, your ethnicity. Some people have a very strong sense of race and racial identity. Strong sense of ethnicity, linguistic attachments, like I am an English speaker. I am an Indo-European. I am Eurasian. I am European. I am Asian. I am African. I am Muslim. I am Christian. I am an atheist. I am agnostic. Whatever it may be, we have these identities that and we tend to think about ourselves in age groups, like womanhood, manhood, boyhood, girlhood. So we've got all these, we're always categorizing everything and everyone, including ourselves. And it can be actually helpful to do a meditation and, take some paper and pen or just sit and think about it and write out the different groups that you belong to and that you would identify with knowingly. And then think about groups that you may be connected to that you hadn't realized that you were connected to. For instance, if you are European, then you're automatically Eurasian. Because this concept of Europe, Europe is connected to Asia, and it's separated by the Caucasus and the Ural Mountains, and yet it's a distinct ethno-linguistic cultural region, but it's not a separate continent. Like not in the way that like there are many, like for instance in Turkey and in Russia, in many places, I believe in Japan. They don't conceptualize of Europe as separate from Asia. It's Eurasia. But we like convenient categorizations. But I want to just come back to this concept of it's the attachment that can be the problem. If we have an unhealthy attachment to a false sense of our community, like so for instance, remember in the last video I was talking about the problem of feeling individually separate from others. If we have a sense of our collective being, the one that we primarily and most strongly identify with, if we think about that group as being separate, unique, special, chosen, superior, or opposite, inferior. We'll discuss this more in the future because there's much to discuss in this area. It's very important if we're to come into our maturity individually and collectively. And inshallah, we will be successful and be transformed into wise and compassionate, mercy-filled, just human beings, men and women. But if we have an unhealthy attachment to a false conceptualization of our group as separate from others and separate from creation, separate from other human communities, as better than or worse than, then this is a form of idolatry. And so if we have a false notion of the ummah, if we have a false notion of, like, say, the the Christian church as a collective is supreme and superior to others, or my skin color is superior to your skin color, or your skin or my skin color is inferior to your skin color, or my financial status, my class is superior or inferior, then these are idolatrous. Because what is an idol? An idol is that which prevents us from seeing things clearly. It's an obstacle. It's a problem. It's a veil. And we seek to see reality as it is, with no veils, with no illusions, with no delusions. And so there can be a collective dajjal, a collective deceiver, a collective liar, which is a false conceptualization of a grouping. You can also have a mature and healthy expression of a collective. We will discuss these more, but right now we're focused on the false, unhealthy attachments to people, places, ideas, things. So people, places, things, and ideas, an unhealthy, wrong-headed attachment that leads to conflict, that leads to disharmony, that leads to toxicity, that leads to violence, that leads to any unhealthy expressions. And we want to get away from these. We want to see things as they really, really, genuinely are in fact. And so we are deeply interconnected as humanity. I would argue as a Muslim that we are all in a state of forgetfulness. We have not remembered who we are as the Adamic race, as the Adamic species, as humanity. And we have to get beyond these obstacles, these veils, these illusions, these delusions, these lies about who we are individually and collectively. So just consider that these unhealthy, go through, as you go through these different categories and you think about groups that you are connected to. I am a man, I am American, I am a Muslim, I was raised as a Christian, and I have all these various categories. I am university educated, I am, I come from a poor background, I come from, whatever it might be. You're going through your various categories and think about, if people criticize you about any of these different categories, do you feel offended and upset? Are you ready to be violent? This is an indicator of something. Whenever you feel violence and anger rise up and frustration, that's Allah letting you know to look at those areas, because that's where your nafs is showing, and to work on the nafs in relation to dissolving its stranglehold upon us. We need to be truth seekers, and we need to draw near unto the truth, and we need to dissolve all unhealthy attachments with the Guide Most High's assistance, because only truth can help us to get beyond this. So anyway, just consider that the nafs is not just an individual problem, but it's also a challenge for the collective. And we have many collectives, and I would like to see the Muslim Ummah become mature and healthy as a collective, so that we can be of the greatest possible benefit to all of creation and help to transfer from this unhealthy paradigm that we're in into a paradigm of healing and wholeness and uprightness, of justice, of wisdom, of compassion, of excellence and beauty, a true golden age, inshallah. So until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.